Thank you for watching this Hexagon Geospatial e-training module, Geospatial Portal SDK Public API Overview. In this module, we'll look at opening and running the Visual Studio solution that comes with the SDK and see what is available in the examples.aspx layout. We're starting today with Visual Studio 2013 Community Edition Open. Select the File tab, Open, Project Solution, and navigate to the unzipped SDK. Select Portal SDK Application.sln and Visual Studio loads the solution. This may take a few minutes. By default, the application project shows up as the startup project. Right-click on the project properties. Make sure that the application project is the startup project. Click the green play button in Visual Studio and Visual Studio compiles the application. We're prompted that debugging is not available. We're not going to debug the application in this video, so we'll click Run without debugging and then OK. Visual Studio opens the Google Chrome browser and loads the URL localhost portal SDK. This may take a few minutes. The Geospatial Portal opens with the default examples.aspx layout of the Geospatial Portal SDK. Open the Examples panel. This panel shows code examples that open in an embedded source code editor and can be edited live in the browser for prototyping purposes. The JavaScript code that is executed in the embedded source code editor works just on this particular portal instance. It's similar to entering the code in the browser's JavaScript console. Click on Get Information about Legend and Legend Items. Now we see the embedded source code editor window. In this example, we're using the $gp.legend.find function without specifying predicates to obtain all legend items. $gp.legend stands for the items added to the map and not the legend control. The legend control is just a different representation of the items that can be accessed via $gp.legend API. In the for each loop, we are iterating over the legend items collection and building a string from serialized legend items objects. Then we are displaying it as a message using $gp.ui.info. You can edit the code directly in the window. Click Run. You can see how the new legend entry appears in the Geospatial Portal. Let's look at another example. Find 04 Drawing and Redline in the Examples panel, and then 02 Redlining Operations. Under 02 Redlining Operations, double-click on How to enter redlining mode rectangle. Now we can edit directly in the embedded source code editor. This example shows how to switch the Geospatial Portal to the object drawing context so the user can draw geometry. In this particular example, we'll draw a rectangle. Then we'll access the newly created feature in the drawing layer in the callback and fetch its geometry in the GeoJSON format. Click Run. Draw a rectangle on the map. The Geospatial Portal shows the object's geometry. Geospatial Portal SDK contains API for many features. To learn what's available in the API, please refer to the API documentation. Click the Documentation tab. Click SDK. Now we can see the Geospatial Portal SDK documentation. Click the Maximize icon and the API documentation opens in a new window. Click on the Geospatial Portal window. Close the internal web browser. Click on the second tab from the left. Now we can browse the API documentation. The pink icons in the tree view describe the $GP namespace, which can be used to control the Geospatial Portal's behavior and the user interface, and to react to the user's interactions. The blue icons in the tree view describe classes, or types, that cannot be created or invoked by the developer, but are present in the API as objects returned in callbacks. Click $GP in the tree view. This explains how to use the public API in the custom project and shows general concepts. Underneath $GP in the tree view, click Edit. Click the arrow next to Edit and click Features, and click PSS. These descriptions present new features in the 2015 SDK Feature Editing API. Click Map, click Draw, and then click Pin. These are descriptions of redlining and Pin APIs. Click UI and click Toolbar. Underneath Methods, click the arrow next to Add. Method description contains an embedded code snippet. This shows how to add a new toolbar button in the portal using the JavaScript API $gp.ui.toolbar.add. Next, we'll see how to add new toolbar buttons. Click the Visual Studio icon in the program tray to switch to Visual Studio. In the Solution Explorer tree on the right, scroll down and click Examples.aspx. Examples.aspx opens. In the Examples.aspx window, notice the helloworld.js entry. This script contains an example script that is using $gp.ui.toolbar.add. In the Solution Explorer pane, scroll down to helloworld.js and double-click to open the script. The embedded source code editor window shows the script. Switch back to the Geospatial portal. In the Examples pane, scroll down to 07 User Interface and double-click Adding Button to the toolbar. The embedded source code editor opens. In this example, we'll add two new buttons to the first toolbar tab. One of the buttons will have a caption Moving Southwest and will move the map southwest when clicked. The other will have a caption Moving Northeast and will move the map northeast when clicked. Enter a new $gp.ui.info line for the Southwest button handler. And another for the Northeast button handler. Click Run. Now let's look at our new buttons in the Geospatial portal. Click the Tools tab and the new tools show in the toolbar. Click SW and the map moves southwest and we see Moving Southwest on the right. Click NE and the map moves to the northeast and we see Moving Northeast on the right. Code executed from the embedded source code editor is just executed. It is not added to the Geospatial portal startup scripts. It runs just in this particular instance, and the buttons that we added exist only in this instance. To add buttons that will be available in the Geospatial portal by default, we must execute this code in the startup script. To do this, let's go back to Visual Studio. Switch back to Visual Studio 2013. Open the helloworld.js tab. As we have seen, this script is already registered in the script manager and it's executed on the Geospatial portal startup. The $gp.ready function allows us to make sure that all the Geospatial portal API elements are available in our scope. Let's copy the code from the embedded source code editor here, and we will register adding that two-button SW and NE to the startup script, so that these buttons will become an integral part of our customized portal. Navigate to Embedded Source Code Editor pop-up window. Select all text and copy it. Open Visual Studio. Paste the text within $gp.ready, replacing the default content. Click the Google Chrome Play button. When the Debugging Not Enabled message opens, click Run without debugging and click OK. The Geospatial portal opens and the two new buttons SW and NE appear. Click each button to see how the map moves and the message displays showing the selected movement. Thank you for watching this e-training module from Hexagon Geospatial. For more e-training, please visit hexagongeospatial.com/etraining.